To understand why Faith's presence in the Season 8 trailer is such a shock, we need to look back at who Faith was and why her story mattered so deeply. Faith was Claire and Jamie's firstborn child. During Season 2, while living in France, Claire became pregnant, and the hope of a new life gave her and Jamie strength during a time filled with political games and personal pain. But tragedy struck when Claire went into labor early. Complications during childbirth left her fighting for her own life, and although she survived, their daughter Faith did not. The scene of Claire holding her stillborn baby was one of the most devastating moments in Outlander history. It broke Claire's heart, it broke Jamie's, and it left a wound that never truly healed. The weight of that loss carried through the series. Claire spoke of Faith only a handful of times, but each mention was filled with raw emotion. Jamie rarely spoke of her, but his silence showed just how deep the pain ran. Their daughter existed only in memory, a name carved into their hearts, but never spoken aloud for long. For fans, Faith became a symbol of what Claire and Jamie sacrificed, a reminder that even great love cannot protect against tragedy. So why does her name return now, after all these years in the Season 8 trailer? The answer may not be simple. Outlander has always blended history, romance, and time travel into something larger than life. Visions, dreams, and supernatural threads have often connected the characters across centuries, from the stones at Cray na Dun to the strange echoes of voices that guide Claire. There is always more happening than what can be seen with the eye. If Faith appears in Season 8, whether as a vision or a spiritual presence, it would not be out of place within the world Outlander has built. The trailer gives just enough to spark this mystery. In one quick shot, we see Claire with a troubled look, almost as if she hears or feels something from beyond. Another moment shows Jamie gazing at the firelight, his face carrying that same mix of sorrow and wonder we saw years ago when Faith was first lost. These glimpses do not confirm anything, but they open the door to questions fans have been asking for years. Could Faith somehow return? Not in body, but in spirit. Could she be a guide for Claire and Jamie as they reach the end of their journey? The weight of her story makes the possibility powerful. Faith is not just a child who was lost. She is the path not taken, the life that might have been. Bringing her into the final season, even in visions, could be the writer's way of closing the circle. It would be heartbreaking, but it would also give fans one final moment with a character who has lingered in silence for too long. The Season 8 trailer is short, yet every second is carefully crafted to stir emotions and build questions. Among the familiar faces and dramatic scenes, there are a few moments that stand out, moments that feel heavier, almost haunted, as if they are carrying the memory of someone unseen. Fans who have watched closely believe these clues point to Faith. The first key moment comes when Claire is shown standing alone in a dimly lit room. Her hand rests on a cradle that appears empty, yet her face is filled with pain and tenderness, the exact same expression she carried when she first lost Faith in Paris. The trailer does not explain the scene, but it lingers just long enough to suggest something important. It is not simply a flashback, because the surroundings look different, more like the ridge than France. This small detail hints that Claire may be experiencing a vision or memory that does not belong to the past alone. Something new is pulling Faith back into her story. Another striking image shows Jamie by the fire. His eyes glisten, his lips part, as though he wants to speak a name he cannot bring himself to say. The music swells, and for a brief second there is a faint child's laugh in the background, so soft that many fans might miss it on the first watch. This sound is unlike anything the Outlander trailers have done before. It feels deliberate, as if meant to reach only those who remember Faith's loss and wonder what it would mean if her spirit lingered still. The third moment is even more mysterious. Brianna is seen holding her daughter, looking down with a smile, but then her expression changes, almost as if she hears someone whispering nearby. The camera cuts quickly, leaving the viewer unsettled. Some fans believe this whisper could be the echo of Faith, a reminder that even though she never lived to grow, she remains tied to her family through time itself. What makes these scenes powerful is not just what is shown, but what is hidden. Outlander trailers have always used shadows, music, and sudden cuts to keep fans guessing. By layering these quiet, haunting moments with the louder battles, embraces, and time travel hints, the show invites fans to look deeper. Faith is not named directly in the trailer, but the weight of her presence can be felt between every frame. This is what makes the mystery so compelling. It is not a simple return of a character, it is a reminder of a loss that shaped the Fraser family forever. The choice to bring Faith into the trailer suggests that her influence will touch the final season in ways no one expected. Whether she appears as a spirit, a dream, or even a symbolic presence through Claire and Jamie's memories, her shadow over the story cannot be ignored. The trailer dares us to ask not if Faith will return, but how and what her return will cost the characters we love. The return of Faith is not something the show can treat lightly, which is why the trailer leaves the mystery unsolved. Instead, it plants seeds for fans to grow into theories, and already the community is buzzing with ideas about how Faith could appear in the story of Season 8. These theories are not only creative, they also connect to themes Outlander has explored from the beginning, where history, destiny, and the supernatural are always interwoven. The first theory is that Faith could appear as a guiding spirit. Outlander has never shied away from moments where the dead still reach out to the living. From ghostly visions at Craigna to prophetic dreams that warn of danger, the series has always allowed the unseen to shape the journey. Faith's presence as a spirit would not feel forced, it would feel natural. Imagine Claire, in a moment of despair, hearing the voice of the daughter she lost, not to frighten her but to guide her, to remind her of strength when hope feels gone. For Jamie, this would be even more powerful because he rarely speaks of Faith. A vision of her could break the silence he has carried for decades, and fans would feel the full weight of his grief finally turning into acceptance. The second theory is bolder. Some believe that Outlander could use its time travel element to bring Faith into the story in a new way. If the stones can carry Claire across centuries, if echoes of voices can travel through time, then why not Faith's spirit, or even an alternate path where she survived? While this idea may not follow the books closely, the show has always taken creative risks to keep fans guessing. The trailer's haunting cradle scene and the whispered laughter could be clues that time itself is bending, showing the family what might have been. This would not just be emotional, it would shake the very foundation of what Claire and Jamie believe about fate. The third theory connects to destiny. Faith's story has always been about loss, but what if her presence in Season 8 is meant to remind the Frasers that their struggles, their sacrifices, and even their victories are never without cost? Faith may return not in body or spirit, but as a symbol, appearing in visions that reveal the price of meddling with time. Her name itself, Faith, carries meaning. To bring her back now could be the writer's way of saying that belief, love, and hope will guide the family through their hardest trials yet. Each theory offers something different: comfort, shock, or symbolism. But all three share one truth. Faith's return will not be random. It will carry purpose. Outlander has always given meaning to every thread, every loss, and every reunion. If Faith's story is being revived now, it will matter deeply to the ending of Jamie and Claire's journey. The beauty of these theories is that none of them cancel each other. Faith could be a spirit in one moment, a symbol in another, and a thread of time travel mystery in the next. This layering of meaning is what Outlander does best. And it is why fans are more eager than ever to see how Episode 1 answers the question the trailer has left behind. The possible return of Faith is not just a mystery for fans to solve, it is a storm that could strike at the very heart of Jamie and Claire's journey. For them, Faith is not only a lost daughter, she is the deepest wound they ever carried together. If Season 8 chooses to open that wound again, the impact will be more than emotional. It will shape every decision they make as their story nears its end. For Claire, Faith has always been the child she could not save. Claire has healed countless lives. She has changed the course of history with her knowledge and her willpower, yet in that dark room in Paris, she could not save her own daughter. The guilt of that loss never left her, even when she returned to Jamie, even when she built a family at Fraser's Ridge. If the trailer's vision of the cradle means that Faith is reaching for her mother again, Claire will have to face that grief head-on. It will not be just a memory. It will feel like a second chance, or a test of whether she has truly healed. For Jamie, the pain is quieter, but no less sharp. Jamie rarely speaks of Faith, because his way of mourning has always been silence. He buried his sorrow under duty, under the need to keep moving forward for Claire, for Brianna, for their family. But silence does not erase grief, it only buries it deeper. If Season 8 forces Jamie to confront Faith once more, fans may finally see the walls around his grief break. Imagine Jamie Fraser, the man who faced war and exile, finally saying his daughter's name aloud after decades of silence. That moment would not only crush the audience, it would complete a part of Jamie's story that has remained unfinished since Season 2. The ripple of Faith's presence would not stop with Claire. And Jamie, Brianna could feel it too. As their surviving daughter, Brianna grew up with the shadow of the sister she never knew. If whispers of Faith appear in the final season, Brianna may find herself wondering how her own life was shaped by that loss, what it means to carry the weight of being the only child who lived when another did not. It could also affect her children, tying yet another generation into the emotional legacy of the Frasers. This impact would not be purely sadness. Outlander is known for its heartbreak, but it is also known for resilience. Faith's presence could bring pain, yes, but it could also bring closure. Jamie and Claire may finally accept the loss instead of carrying it like a silent wound. In doing so, they may find the strength to face the final trials that Season 8 will bring. The trailer's decision to bring Faith back into the spotlight suggests that this closure is not only possible, it is necessary. Faith was the beginning of Claire and Jamie's life as parents, and her absence shaped everything that followed. To revisit her now, in the last season, would make their journey feel complete, not because the loss was undone, but because it was finally honored. For the audience, it would be devastating but also beautiful, a reminder that Outlander's greatest power has always been in showing how love endures, even through the deepest pain. The moment the trailer dropped, fans wasted no time in sharing their reactions. Social media lit up with excitement, confusion, and even disbelief at the possibility of Faith returning to the story. For many viewers, seeing hints of Faith was emotional, like opening a scar that never healed. Some called it the most shocking part of the trailer, more surprising than the battles, the romances, or the political twists. The reason is simple. Faith was never supposed to return. Her story ended in Season 2, and fans carried that grief along with Claire and Jamie. To bring her back now changes the emotional landscape of the final season completely. On forums and fan groups, theories spread quickly. Some fans believe Faith's presence will be symbolic, nothing more than a dream or a memory. Others are convinced that her spirit will appear, a quiet guardian guiding the Frasers toward their destiny. A smaller but passionate group even hopes that the show might take a bold leap, using time travel to give Faith a second chance at life in an alternate path. Each idea has sparked long debates, with fans quoting past episodes and analyzing every frame of the trailer. Book readers bring another layer to this mystery. In Diana Gabaldon's novels, Faith's story is just as tragic as in the series, and she does not return in the later books. For some, this is reason enough to believe the show is only teasing her presence, using her memory for dramatic effect rather than rewriting history. But the show has taken creative liberties before, adding moments and storylines that were not directly in the books. Readers point out that the themes of memory, destiny, and loss are strong enough to allow Faith's presence without betraying the heart of the novels. If anything, it could deepen the emotional weight of the adaptation, reminding viewers of the cost of every choice Claire and Jamie made. The conversation has grown so intense that even fans who had stepped back from Outlander are now returning, eager to see how this mystery unfolds. For them, Faith's name is enough to reignite the passion they once felt for the series. Faith represents unfinished business, and audiences love when a story dares to reopen the past. Whether they are hopeful or skeptical, nearly every fan agrees on one thing. This storyline has the power to define the final season, and that is what makes this moment so powerful. Faith's reappearance is not just about her, it is about how the show engages its audience. By weaving in a mystery that connects back to the earliest chapters of Jamie and Claire's journey, the writers remind viewers why they fell in love with Outlander in the first place. It is a story about love, loss, and the way time itself cannot erase the bonds of family. Whether or not Faith truly returns, her shadow will shape the way fans experience every moment of Season 8. Faith's mystery is not just another subplot teased in the Outlander Season 8 trailer, it feels like the emotional core of what could be the show's last great chapter. For years, the story of Jamie and Claire has been built on love tested by loss, on time that bends but never breaks, and on family that survives across generations. By bringing Faith's memory back into focus, the trailer is not only revisiting the past, it is forcing both the characters and the audience to face the pain that shaped everything that followed. The unanswered question is whether Faith will appear as a spirit, a dream, or a symbol of the cost of changing fate. No matter the answer, her presence will carry weight. For Claire, it could mean one last confrontation with the guilt she never escaped. For Jamie, it could break a silence he has held for decades. For Brianna, it could be a chance to understand the sister she never knew but always felt in the distance. Faith is not just a memory. She is a missing piece of the Fraser legacy, and her return could complete the family's story in a way no one expected. What makes this even more powerful is the timing. This is not the beginning of the Outlander saga. It is the end. Every storyline is coming full circle, every wound is being reopened, and every love is being tested once more. The choice to bring Faith back into the conversation now tells us that the writers want the final season to be more than dramatic. They want it to be unforgettable. They want the audience to remember not only the battles and romances, but also the losses that made the victories matter. The trailer does not confirm anything, and that silence is part of its brilliance. By showing only hints, a cradle in the shadows, a whisper of laughter, a haunted look in Jamie's eyes, it allows fans to imagine countless possibilities. That mystery is what will keep viewers talking until the episode airs. And once it does, the reveal will carry even greater power because it was earned through suspense and speculation. So the real question is not whether Faith appears, but what her presence will mean. Will she bring peace to Claire and Jamie, or will she remind them of a wound that can never truly heal? Will her name close the circle of their story? Or will it open a door to a fate they never imagined? Outlander has always asked us to believe in the impossible, to trust in love, even when time itself tries to tear it apart. As Season 8 begins, faith may be the key that ties the past and the future together. And that leaves us with one final question to carry forward. If Faith returns, will it be as a blessing for the Frasers, or as a curse that changes everything? Faith's shadow has always lingered over Outlander, even when her name was not spoken. She was the child Claire held only once, the daughter Jamie never saw alive, the loss that shaped the very heart of their love story. Now, with the Season 8 trailer hinting at her return, the show is reaching back into its most painful memory to remind us that no story is complete until every thread is tied. The power of this mystery is not only in what it shows, but in what it asks. Outlander has always been about the impossible, about love surviving time, about families torn apart only to be reunited, about destiny bending under the weight of choice. If Faith returns even in the faintest whisper, it would be the most emotional twist the series has ever delivered. For Claire, it would mean facing the grief that defined her. For Jamie, it would mean speaking aloud the sorrow he buried in silence. For their family, it would mean carrying forward not only the memory of what was lost, but also the hope that even in loss there is meaning. The trailer leaves us in the dark, and that is exactly why it works. It gives us images that haunt us. A cradle left empty, Jamie's eyes caught in firelight, Brianna reacting to something we cannot see. It leaves the audience restless, searching for answers, debating theories, wondering what role Faith will truly play in the final season. That conversation, that tension, is what will carry fans straight into the premiere. And so we end with the same question that has echoed since the trailer dropped. Faith is coming back into the story, but why now? What is her purpose in the final season of Outlander? Is she here to guide her family, to warn them, or to remind them of the price of love and time? One thing is certain, whatever form her presence takes, it will not be simple. It will cut deep. It will remind us why this story has endured for so many years. The Frasers' journey began with love, loss, and faith, and it seems it will end with them too. Now it is your turn. Do you believe Faith will return as a spirit, a dream, or something even more shocking? Share your theories in the comments because this is a mystery that no fan can solve alone. And remember, the first episode of Season 8 will decide whether Faith's name becomes the family's final comfort or the final heartbreak.